Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome to the Best Mom Ever podcast, your place for learning how to create a close relationship with your teen, even if they have already shut you out. I'm Allison, and I want to help you get out of struggle and into trust, happiness, and confidence with your teen without throwing pills at the problem. Thanks so much for listening, and we are glad you're here. Hello, beautifuls. Welcome to the Best Mom Ever podcast. This is Allison. I am so excited to connect with you today, as always, to share with you about why parenting takes so much courage. Now, part of the reason that parenting right now takes so much courage is because of our current timeline, where we are in our place in time in 2023. Because every single child on the planet right now that is over the age of 3 has lived through a pandemic. That complicates our parenting for sure. And our kids, they experienced a lot. They lost birthday parties and graduations and opportunities to interact with their friends and develop socially. And they got missed in their IEP evaluations and didn't get the support services that they needed to access their academics and all kinds of other things that the pandemic cost them. And so I'm going to send some love out to those kiddos and to their beautiful parents that are still leading them and that were there with them during this whole challenge. I have a brilliant virtual assistant named Lana, and I asked her what she thought about this idea of why it takes so much courage to parent. And this is really a beautiful collaboration with some of her ideas woven in. So I'll share that with you all today. So one of the reasons that we need so much courage to parent our children is because we are committed to our kids. We love them and we want them to have everything they need. We want them to have so much more. We want them to have their emotional needs met, their physical needs met. We want to help them sidestep all of the really yucky decisions that we may have made in our lives, right? The lessons that we don't want them to have to learn the hard way. And we end up sacrificing for our kids a lot. And the hard part becomes balancing our own needs and theirs. We want to protect them and provide for them. And that takes a ton of planning and attention, right? Like who is going to have the car when? Scheduling doctor's appointments. I mean, the list is long. There's a reason they call it a laundry list, right? Because it never ends. It goes in a circle just like a dryer. Okay, I'm just playing around, you guys. But yeah, parents, we have a lot to manage. It's complex. Finances, who's going to have the car when? Yard work. Now, some people have help with their yard work, and there's no shame in that. Like, we get to celebrate that right now. Like, if you have help with that, awesome. It's really hard, and we are definitely going to do it, and we really want to do it well. So it takes a lot of courage to be a parent. So I just acknowledge all of you parents out there right now. And we are parents no matter how we feel, even when we're tired, when we're sick, even when we're lonely and hungry. Our kids need our love and attention. Even when they are grumpy, even when we're grumpy, when they have meltdowns, we are still on trying to be cool and calm and manage that tricky situation. And I don't mean cool like having the best styles. I mean cool, like, okay, I've got this. What's next? We have to be calm because everyone is looking to us to solve the problem. We get to manage our self-care proactively, like choosing to sleep regularly, going to bed on time, not being on our cell phones late, keeping ourselves up, right? Eating beautiful, healthy food. Getting ourselves the social interaction that we need or the rest, the social rest, the breaks from other people that we need. And even if we don't have those things, yeah, we're still parenting And we have to balance our time and energy and decide what is right for us and trust ourselves. We are parents, even on the hard days, even on the bad days, even on the days that we have to forgive ourselves for our parenting. Like, we don't necessarily have space to integrate all of those things and to think through how we feel about different situations. We're still on. Our kids still need us. So yeah, it takes a lot of courage. Another reason that parenting takes so much courage is that judgment is everywhere. Okay, now right now I'm talking to the ladies, the people who identify as mothers, grandmothers, stepmothers. I'm talking to the moms, okay? Now I know that there are dads out there hustling and being there for our kids. I see you too. And when was the last time you ever heard anyone tell a mom, wow, you are doing a great job, just for being out in public with her kids? Probably never, but they do say that to dads. See, people just expect us as moms to do a great job and to make sacrifices for our kids. And we do it, and we're cool with it. And also, everyone, please stop judging us. Stop judging us for taking Tylenol or drinking coffee or even a beer when we're pregnant. I know that's controversial to say, and I think it's really important that we trust women to look at the research for themselves and to make their own decisions for themselves and their body and their child. So please don't judge us if our kid watches too much TV, or if we have too many dishes in the sink, or our kid's room is messy, or for letting our teen make some of their own choices, or if they aren't getting all of their homework done. We are going to parent imperfectly. We are still great moms. We are the best parents our kids could ever have because no one is more committed to them than we are. Now, that last sentence, I do include dads in too. And people do respond differently to moms. People judge us, and we judge ourselves too. But that is another conversation. People want to step in and tell us how to manage situations with our kids. I have to tread carefully here because I am a parenting coach. And my goal, my intent is to always coach in a way that gives the power back to the parent to look at their own experiences and use the tools and the guidance and the support that I can provide to apply to their own situation and experience to make their own best parenting decisions for themselves and their families. Because I believe that we are the best parents that our kids could ever have. So as a community, as a collective, we get to stop judging each other and stop doing that harm to each other, to other moms, because it is hard and it takes a lot of courage. So if we can lighten that load for one another, let's do it. Let's release that need to build ourselves up by tearing someone else down, because we really are all doing the best that we know how. So as I shared before, I was connecting with Lana, who shared with me about this particular conversation about why parenting takes so much courage. And she shared with me that she really struggles because people judge her because of her child's behavior. And her child happens to have autism. And sometimes the way that people with autism act is different than other people would expect. So let's get in this habit of assuming the best about moms. It's way too normal and common to blame mothers when a kid acts out or rebels. Because like we keep saying, moms are doing the best that they can. And we don't have access to all the information that they do. And it's really important to remember, and this is just like colloquial everyone advice, that we can't be staring at a parent who is managing a tantrum or something like that. Like, we have to remember, don't stare. If you want to help, then, hey, are you okay? Can I help? But really leave it at that, and definitely avoid being in people's personal space when they're managing a tantrum like this. Because when we stare or when we get in someone's space, we are actually adding energy to the situation where the parent is actually trying to co-regulate and calm the situation with their child. And so if we are staring, then we are adding more energy to that and making it even harder for that parent to do what they need to do to calm that little person's nervous system down. One of the really cool things about people with autism is that they have a lot to teach us about letting go of the need to control others. Because, well, coercive tactics like shaming and forcing don't usually work very well on them. Autistic people usually have their own set of unique interests that don't necessarily align with what other people might be interested in. And so they're very much dancing to their own drum and choosing their own path, which is pretty incredible and something that we get to celebrate. And hand in hand with that, it means that these free people might not necessarily act according to rules and expectations that we may generally have for them about the way we think people should behave. And so we get to have grace for moms as a habit, as an expectation. So while I'm on this topic of people on the spectrum for autism or neurodiverse people, it's really important to remember that sometimes we might have a different expectation about what someone's ability levels are based on the way that they look, and not all differences in ability are visible from the outside. So if we see a young person in the street, they may look like they could be old enough to know that they should look both ways, but possibly they don't actually know that. And so just remembering that it's important to be aware of all human bodies and pedestrians in the road and drive carefully. That's just kind. Thanks, everybody. This has been a Best Mom Ever public service announcement. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So there's a lot of pressure on moms to have it all, to do it all ourselves. And it's unbearable. We, as a culture, and I'm mostly speaking about people in the United States, but I imagine it's pretty pervasive. We really value independence. So we talk about the 4th of July, Independence Day, and then we start telling the story about our grandfather who survived during the Depression and pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. And we get all nostalgic about independence. And we prioritize it over interdependence. And I think that we forget that these people were interdependent. They did lean on each other. They did have networks and communities and support systems that we may not have available to us today. So I don't know what the fuss is about, but I just want you all to know that I took a personal day last week. My parents helped me take care of my home, and I hardly ever cook. Like, I maybe will make some pasta or some stir fry, but I don't really cook. And somehow my kid and I still have a diet that I feel pretty good about. And that's okay, because I'm not beating myself up about what we're eating. So I just want to acknowledge that it is okay sometimes to not be independent. So another one here, and this is like so close to what I was just talking about, but part of the reason that it takes so much courage to be a parent right now is because we really lack social support. It feels like a lot of people are too busy to have friends. Did you know that some people actually don't have friends? So I went online to find out like a little more about this yesterday, and something like 10% of people report that they have 0 friends. So I'm talking about like you go to the gas station, the grocery store, and you pass at least one person, even on a slow day, that has no friends. So one of the things we talk about with social media and why people talk about it being so dangerous and pervasive and all these things is because of this like sense of false identity that you can put out, this like fake, inauthentic version of yourself, and people think that's real and that harms people. But I think that most of us know that it's not that hard to like clean up a corner of your room and take a picture and make it look like you have a clean house, even if you really don't. But I think that part of the problem with social media is that in so many ways, it substitutes some of our social need to be with other people, and then it deprives other people of being with us. And so it actually means that there are more people in the world that don't have friends. So those of you that know me know that I'm the parent of a little boy. And like I said earlier in the podcast, I took an extra day last week over the weekend. So he actually had a cold and I didn't want to send him to school that day. But I was so ready to send him back on Monday after spending 3 full days with him. So he was sick. He didn't go play with his friends or his cousins like he normally would have on the weekend. And the truth is, though, like when he's not sick, let's get out of the habit of going places when we're sick. He needs those people. He needs those relationships with others. Like he needs an auntie or a cousin to explain to him in a different way the thing that I've been trying to teach him. He needs friends that are better at playing make-believe than I am. Like I'll build with him. I can draw, color, all that good stuff. But like when it comes to like all that pretend play that he loves right now, like his friends are so much better at meeting that need. So we need our community around us to spend time with and teach our kids. But our society has come to place way too much of the burden of parenting on the microfamily unit. And it makes things way harder than they need to be for everyone, especially mothers. So some of the prevailing values in our current cultural climate need some healing because they are such that a lot of men are not able to be present for their families in the way that they need to be. And this is not me bashing men or dads. It's just statistics right now. A lot of times the culture, the values, the way that we expect men to show up makes it hard for them to be emotionally or even physically present for their families. And I know that a lot of dads are present for their kids, right? Some of you are listening right now. And some of those fathers are single parents too. So my commentary isn't of men, but of the patterns of thinking that are distancing many of them from their families in literal and emotional ways. So I don't want to dive too deep into that conversation today, but simply to call out that our communities need healing in order for our families to have the social support that we all need. So when we have gaps in our social structure that humans have evolved to depend on, we are meant to be together with other humans when we're raising our kids. It means that parenting is going to take a huge amount of courage. It takes a huge amount of courage to be a great parent and to create the social change that we need to make parenting easier for everyone. So thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for being willing to be challenged today and considering some different ideas. Thank you for being committed to your kids, no matter how you feel or who wants to judge you. And even in scenarios where we don't have the support that we need, that we keep showing up, that we keep trying to be great parents. So lots of love. Thank you for being here, for listening, and don't forget to love yourself. Hello, friends. It's Allison. And as you know, I help parents who are tired of fighting with and feeling disconnected from their teenagers to get close, strong relationships that last a lifetime without throwing pills at the problem. My clients have been able to accomplish amazing things with their teenagers, shift from yelling at one another to holding hands, go from missing weeks of school on end to attending regularly and collaborating on assignments. This is incredible to witness, and I would love to see it for more moms, which is why my team is creating a very special opportunity to help more moms and their teenagers go from feeling defeated and burned out to feeling more freedom and confidence. This will be a brand new beta program for a very small, intimate group of up to 13 fully committed parents who want to build skills and feel confident that they know how to get their teens to open up, discover how to reduce conflict and stress in the relationship, reconnect, and to trust each other again. If this sounds like you, if you know you need this, use the link in the description to register for the waitlist. Thank you so much for listening. Have a beautiful day.